Forging the way forward for the travel industry on the continent, South African Tourism this week opened its first marketing office outside of the country in Nigeria. The new office, located in Lagos, is meant to service the entire West Africa. With visitor numbers to South Africa from the region growing year on year, the opportunity to develop that market had to be explored.
Well, I think it's obviously a critical next step. We're already receiving more than 84,000 Nigerian tourists every year. And in order to fast track that into the thing, you really need to have a physical presence in the country. And I think from that point of view, to actually know and mine the market more effectively, it's very important that you're in a permanent establishment in that country. I think there are also an increasing number of South Africans coming to Nigeria at the moment, and I think it will also supplement them and make it easier for them to come here, and they'll get to know Nigeria better from that point of view. I also think it's, in the end of the day, it will be the beginning of a hub in the West Africa, and Nigeria being the largest country, it makes the logical point for us to start.
The opening was attended by representatives of the West and South African travel trade, as well as the South African Tourism Minister, Marthinus van Schalkwyk, and his Nigerian counterpart, Chief Edem Duke.
South Africa opening this office is a sign of our confidence in Africa, in African tourism, and very specifically, obviously, in West Africa.
This office is an important milestone for both South Africa and Nigeria, and the high-caliber guests in attendance was a demonstration of this.
Nigeria is a very important market for us. We are actually opening an office called the West African market. It is a West African market because ministers, our aim and that of the board is very clear. We are going to use Nigeria as a springboard for our growth in West Africa.
The office is located in the affluent business and commercial hub of Victoria Island.
Well, I think if you bear in mind that both South Africa and Nigeria are two of the powerhouses in Africa, I think it's really very important that there's a strong and established link between them. And I think opening a physical office in the country is also manifest our desire to work more closely with Nigeria. And as I said earlier, it's also the beginning of a hub strategy for us, where we can serve the whole of West Africa from this office, and eventually hope to have a range of offices across West Africa. So I think it is very important, and I think it sends a very important message from that.
The main purpose of this office will be to not only encourage travel between the two regions, but to also make the process more streamlined.
Well, I think they will do all the normal activities that any trade office do in terms of liaison with the trade, with the media. They will keep us abreast of any governmental changes that happen that we need to take cognizance of. And I think all in all, just make sure that they service potential Nigerian travellers, create awareness for South Africa, convert them from people who are interested to go to South Africa into people who actually travel, and then help them to have a great holiday once they're there.
The travel industry has also welcomed the move and is hopeful it will bring new opportunities to both travellers and themselves.
I think as far as opening the office in West Africa in general is concerned, I think it's long overdue. It's the first office that SA Tourism is opening actually on the continent, and what better place to open it than in Nigeria. I think because if you look at the numbers over the last 5-6 years, as the Minister said earlier, he alluded to the double-digit figures, increase 14%, 16% year on year into South Africa from Nigeria, and South Africa being a destination not only for leisure but even for corporate travel. This office will just add a little bit of more value to the travel trade within West Africa and more so Nigeria, and also assist because of challenges that we faced previously with visas and those small challenges. With an office being here and a South African manager, it will just make life much more easier for the travel trade from Nigeria and West Africa to move people down south.
With a parting sentiment that Tourism South Africa will make it a day to remember, the opening of this office is an invitation to Nigerians, Ghanaians and other West Africans to experience and explore South Africa. The opportunity to reciprocate and attract South Africans to their shores is also open.
Pan-African tourism initiatives like these really highlight just how vital the tourism trade is on the continent. My colleague Keisha Kitari in Nigeria caught up with South African Minister of Tourism Marthinus van Schalkwyk at the launch.
Tourism arrivals from Nigeria to South Africa have more than doubled since 2009. What do you attribute to this growth?
The main reasons for the tourism arrivals from Nigeria to South Africa, the growth in those arrivals, are because I believe we have good products that we put on the market, but we have a great marketing campaign in Nigeria. But even so, we can have much better growth, because if we look at the enormous size of this market, the disposable income, this is a key market for us. And that is why South Africa has decided that we're going to spread our resources, not only concentrate on the US, not only on Europe, not only on China and India, but very specifically on Africa, and on the continent. Nigeria is key.
We've seen trade between the two countries increase dramatically over the past decade, but is there still scope for further growth?
There is scope for tremendous growth in the relationship between our two countries. Economically, we are two of the superpowers on the continent, but also politically it's important that we understand the value of working together, the value of growing our economies, the value of creating jobs for our people. And in that regard, there are many industries that will contribute. Mining, the oil industry, but the retail industry, service industries. But tourism has the potential to lift tens of millions of people out of poverty, and especially women and young people, because we can create jobs at a lower cost. And that is why this tourism cooperation is so important to both of us.
Bringing it back to today's festivities, what is the importance of the South African Tourism Office in Lagos?
We've decided a few years ago that unlike everybody who was only looking at the new growth markets, China and India, we will do that. But we also want to look at Africa, because we realized as South Africa that we have this huge market right on our doorstep. And when we analyzed this market, it became clear to us that the disposable income was really impressive, and it was going to grow exponentially over the decades to come. And then in further analyzing the continent, we said to ourselves, which is the first country where we would like to open an office? And Nigeria presented itself, if we analyze the figures, the potential, as the obvious choice.
Now, we've noted that Nigerian arrivals to SA have increased, but are we seeing similar growth from other West African countries?
Yes, Ghana has grown very impressively. Between 2011 and 2012, we've seen 24% growth from Ghana. In the first 6 months of 2013, another 20% increase in growth. But South Africa, I must say, we've been doing extremely well as a destination over the last few years. We are one of the only countries in the world who had positive growth a few years ago when the whole of the world was in negative growth. Last year we had double-digit growth. It is exceptional, and we are outperforming all our competitors. But even so, we are not resting on our laurels, and we understand that we must diversify and not only rely on a few markets. We must spread our risk. And that's why also on the African continent we're going to have a program that will open up most of the markets, the key markets to us.
How are we leveraging on this potential?
Yes, very soon we will open an office in Angola as well. Angola is a key country. If we look at the growth of economies in future, Angola is right up there with South Africa and Nigeria. And many people, in our view, underestimate a country such as Angola, its future growth potential, not only for other service sectors, but also for tourism. And then East Africa, we will move in soon afterwards. Kenya is a key country to us. And obviously then in the SADC countries, there is still a lot of potential for us there. One key for us in unlocking the potential of all these markets, obviously, is air connectivity. And that's why our national carrier, South African Airways, on a monthly basis, they are announcing new destinations that they are flying to and from in Africa. So that is a key for us in opening up the markets.
How is the tourism ministry helping to improve the perceptions of Nigerians in South Africa?
One of the worst things that we can deal with in the world is stereotyping. And we all suffer from that. Other people have perceptions from South Africans, or people have perceptions of Americans. So we have to deal with that. But tourism is one of the best antidotes in dealing with that stereotyping, in dealing with mistrust, in dealing with conflict and confrontation. And it's natural when you have two strong countries that there will always be an element of competition. Now we have that, if we are honest, between South Africa and Nigeria, and to some degree it is a very healthy thing. But the new concept on our continent should be co-opetition. We should have a healthy degree of competition, but we should also cooperate. And that is what tourism can bring to the table, is to strengthen that dimension of cooperation. And the more South Africans get to know Nigerians that visit them, that stay with them in a hotel, that eat at the same restaurant, that they have to direct to a certain tourism activity, the better they get to know people. But I would like to emphasize it shouldn't only be a one-way street. We also want South Africans to come and visit Nigeria.
Now, we couldn't talk about South Africa and tourism without touching on crime, unfortunately. What is being done to improve this situation?
I believe as governments, sometimes people succumb to the temptation to say, oh, crime is no problem. I think we should be honest. In many countries, crime is a problem and a reality, and we have to deal with that. The way that we deal with it is obviously we've increased the police on the streets. We've made sure that the police are better equipped to deal with crime. We've improved the intelligence system. But if we've said all of that, and it is no excuse, but crime very often is localized. It is the same in South Africa, in many other African countries, in the US, in Russia. If you go to Moscow or Washington, there are certain areas that common sense tell you. And even the hotel, when you check in, they will say to you, you know, please don't go to that area. Be cautious when you go out at night to area X. It is the same in all our countries. Very often it is simply a degree of common sense. But we take it seriously, and we want tourists, when they come to visit us, to feel safe.